When you look back at all the civilizations that have existed, that have risen and fallen, and and the idea that that's happening to America now, like this is what's happened on this continent over the last 400 years is one of the most insane stories in all of history. In all of history, I mean, there's some insane stories. Insane, empires that ruled the world for long periods of time. The Portuguese and the British and the Mongols, of course, and the Vikings. But what happened here is so crazy that there was a country full of nomadic Native American tribes that were warring with each other all the time and living off the land and living in harmony with the land. And then all of a sudden, boats start showing up. And then within 50, 60, 100 years, 200 years, it's just flooded with Europeans, like a mass invasion of a place that had people have been living on it for 20,000 plus years.
Yeah, maybe longer. They found some, the Clovis Point that they found in New Mexico, which dated back to like 12,000 BC, and I could go on a sidebar with these archaeologists. When they find something that's the oldest, they will defend it to the death. They do not want anything older to be found.
Well, yeah, that's a real problem with Egypt, too.
But they found another point of some kind in New Mexico that dates back another 8,000 years.
Yeah, they
just
found
shatters.
Footprints.
Yeah, yes, that's what it was, footprints.
I think it's 22,000 years.
Yeah, it shatters.
Also, that's just what they found.
Yeah.
Like, who's to say there's not one that's 35,000 years old?
Yeah, we're saying that the oldest thing we found is the oldest thing.
That's ridiculous. Well, that's what they're realizing now with human civilizations, that it's very likely that there was a mass disruption of human civilization from asteroid impacts or something like that, and we had to rebuild. And that's what the pyramids are, and that's what a lot of the structures they find even in North America. And, catastrophes do happen. And I know we don't want to believe it. It's just like the vegans don't want to believe they're causing any deaths when they buy their kale.
Yeah,
it's kind of the same thing. We don't want to believe that this could ever fall apart and we could be right back to square one, right back to living like nomadic tribal people. But that 100% can happen.
Well, you know what? Einstein's famous saying when they asked him what would be the weapon of destruction in World War III, and he says, I have no idea, but I know what it is in World War IV. And they said, what is it? And he goes, sticks.
Yeah. It probably doesn't even have to be the war, though. That's the problem. The problem is we're spinning around in a shooting gallery of massive chunks of space debris that literally is the stuff that forms planets.
Yeah.
And it's everywhere. There's so much of it out there. There's hundreds of thousands of near-Earth objects. And there's a whole asteroid belt. And if one of them collides with another one, and one of them's coming in from some other place, and it hits one and just sends it right towards us.
Yeah.
And some of them are huge. And when those things hit, that's a wrap, civilization.
Yeah.
Whatever people are left, good luck.
Yeah.
Good luck. You're going to live like barbarians for the next 1,000, 2,000 years before people reinvent civilization again.
Yeah. And it'll be interesting to see if it's reinvented the same.
I don't think it will be. I think there's a certain amount of genetic memory in people. And I think even if something horrible happened and we had to start right now from scratch and rebuild civilization, I still think we would be better off than people who tried to do that 5,000 years ago or even 10,000 years ago. I think the collective human consciousness is something other than just what you know and what you've read. I think there's some shit that's in you in genetics. I think people are better at stuff now than they've ever been before. But clearly, if that's the case, whoever built the pyramids, they must have been around way longer. They must have been able to have a civilization that thrived way longer than ours.
They still can't figure out how they built it. And there's something that I just read about. If you look at its longitude and latitude, it's like a perfect 1/1,000,000th of it.
It's almost perfectly true north, south, east, and west.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
And it's whoever did that probably was along the same lines that we're on. They just had way more time to do it. They had, thousands and thousands and thousands of years where we've only had a few hundred. few hundred of craziness, a few hundred of the Industrial Revolution, combustion engines, utilization of fossil fuels, all this shit that we're doing now. This is real recent.
Yeah.
So if they had some more time than we did, that's what explains that shit to me. And I think that if we go and then there's a few barbarian people left, of a few thousand all over the planet, and they eventually redo civilization, they'll probably do a slightly better job. I think each group does a slightly better job
than the last.
But it probably takes forever. It would probably take another 4,000 or 5,000 years for civilization to really emerge again.